Howdy folks, how we all doing? I'm the Reverend Danny Crosby, a Unitarian minister serving congregations in Altrincham and Urmston in the northwest of England. I do hope you're able to find the love and you're witnessing some of the blessings in life in these very, very difficult times. It is very hard at times, my friends, but remember we are all in this one together. With this in mind, I'm offering these devotions, doing my little bit, a little bit of hope, doing what I can, playing my role in being part of the solution. These devotions are offered as a balm for the heart, for the mind, the spirit and the soul. And the title for today's reflection is The Theory of Wellativity. Now, I know you've probably heard of the theory of relativity. Well, this is the theory of wellativity. Less well known, I think. Maybe it should be better known. Anyway, I invite us now just to still ourselves together in silence. Let's invite a loving presence to be here amongst us and to awaken from deep, deep within us. I have lit the flame of freedom in the cup of belonging, acceptance and love. We join together in our physical separation, but united in our devotion to life and to love. May we all be at peace in this sacred time, in this sacred space, in this loving space, in this sanctuary of heart and soul that is this time together. Be here now. Know that you are welcome as you are, exactly as you are in this time, in this space. Lay down the cares and the concerns of your day and lay them into the healing hands of the divine spirit. May those hands, the loving hands of life, hold us all. Be here now. Lay out our joy and our delight and give thanks for the divine spirit that is within us all and around us all, connecting us all together as one, despite our physical separation. Let's come together in love. Amen. So I'm going to begin today's devotion with a short story. With a timid voice and idolizing eyes, the little boy greeted his dad as he returned from work. "Daddy, how much do you earn an hour?" Greatly surprised, but giving his boy a glaring look, the father said, "Look, son, not even your mother knows that. Don't bother me now, I'm tired." "But Daddy, just tell me please, how much do you earn an hour?" The boy insisted. So the dad finally gave in and replied, "Well, I earn £20 an hour." "Okay, Daddy, could you loan me £10? The boy asked. Showing his restlessness and positively disturbed by now, the dad shouted, "Now, so that was the reason you asked me how much I earn, right? Yes? Go to sleep and don't bother me anymore." It soon turned dark and the dad was thinking over what he'd said and was feeling a bit guilty. He thought to himself maybe the boy wanted to buy something. So finally, trying to ease his mind, the dad went to his son's room and asked, "Are you asleep, son?" "No, Daddy, why?" the boy replied. He was half asleep. "Here's the money you asked for earlier," the dad said. "Oh, thanks, Daddy," rejoiced the son. He put his hand under his pillow and removed some money. "Now I have enough. Now I have £20, the boy said to his dad, who was gazing lovingly, and the dad was looking down, somewhat confused at what the boy had just said. And then the son asked his dad another question. Daddy, could you sell me 1 hour of your time?" Time is a precious commodity, perhaps a priceless one. Do we have enough time for the ones we love? Question I need to ask myself at times. Time is a funny thing. Time can stop and time can fly by. The passing of time brings with it the experience of aging. if we're offered that privilege. But the same passing of time can also rejuvenate if we spend it wisely. We can kill time, but in so doing we do not damage it, only ourselves. We can spend time until it runs out, but we can also invest in time, spent wisely, and in doing so brings a great rich dividends if we spend our time wisely. Now, one thing that we humans do, whether we're religious or secular, is that we mark the passing of time. We say it's time for this and it's time for that. In so doing, we mark a certain day, and in so doing, we separate what has been and what is yet to come. We acknowledge the passing of time by marking time. We've always done so. Our ancient ancestors looked into the night sky and observed that the celestial events above them kept on repeating themselves, but not in exactly the same way, at varying intervals. Intervals that today we might call a day or a month or even a year, etc. Such time is a measured period that extends from one event until it is repeated again. It's linear time. The ancient Greeks call this chronos time. Now, we place such a high value on such time because we are given a limited supply of it. We cannot earn more of this kind of time. We mark it off, and we continue to mark off such time as we keep track of the time passing. Each morning as the sun rises, we begin our daily journey. Well, journey is what you do in your day anyway, so you can't do a daily journey. Your journey is your daily task, from the French word journée. We begin a period of time called a day, which is our journey. The moon moves through a month or monthly cycle, which lasts 29.5 days. It's the same with the passing of the spring equinox, which follows a cycle of what we call a year, or actually 365 1/4 days. So we have a leap year every 4 years. There is another form of time, though, other than this periodical passing time, and this time is called chronos. We all experience this kind of time, but it's a time that we cannot measure. Such time can be called eternity. Now, the ancients believed that this is the time that God inhabits. As Peter wrote in his 3rd letter, 1,000 years is as a day to God, and one day is 1,000 years. The Greeks called such time kairos. Such time cannot be measured in a linear sense, and thus we don't always see its value. Can't be measured, you see. Kairos time is not limited, and through it we can indeed alter how we live out our chronos time. Sorry, bit of a mouthful that, our chronos time. We cannot lengthen such time, but we can deepen or thicken the experience of this time. Kairos time is qualitative. It is measured by the depth of the moment and not the length of the experience. How many seconds it lasts, you can't measure it in that sense. It's a depth experience. It's what Blake described as infinity in an hour. In such moments, it feels like the whole world pauses to take a breath. In such moments, our whole lives can change. And yet, in terms of measurements, chronos time lasts no longer than any other second. But it doesn't feel like it. Kind of brings to mind that wonderful poem, one of my favourite little poems by one of my favourite poets, the farmer Wendell Berry. When he describes the journey, remember that means daily task, or more accurately the spiritual journey, which is one of depth, not distance. This is kairos time, which lasts no longer but is experienced in a much thicker sense. Anyway, he wrote about it in this lovely, short little poem, a spiritual journey, or if you like, a daily task, a spiritual journey. And the world cannot be discovered by a journey of miles, no matter how long, but only by a spiritual journey, a journey of 1 inch. very arduous and humbling and joyful, by which we arrive at the ground at our feet and learn to be at home. A Spiritual Journey by Wendell Berry. You cannot lengthen time. We are finite creatures, we humans. This is what makes our lives so precious, so valuable, so meaningful, if we would but learn to deepen our time and thicken our experiences. But how? How do we do this? How do we do this with regards to time? Well, a while ago I came across a wonderful piece of wisdom by Marnie K. Makrodakis, another difficult name. She explores one way in which this could be achieved. And in the Theory of Wellativity, she writes, try and follow this. I'm sure some excellent mathematician will pull me up on this afterwards, but let's not be literal. Since time is relative, and is relative on so many levels, why not consciously control it by adjusting our inner relativity? Time is changeable and is not an absolute thing, and we can use this to inspiring advantage. After all, time wasn't even standardised until 1884, and obviously life on the planet was able to carry on well before then. Einstein's theory of relativity is popularly known through the equation E equals mc squared. In actuality, this equation represents just a portion of the theory of special relativity, basically setting the stage to state that there is an equivalence between mass and energy. It's just a portion, not the whole thing. Anyway, she writes, I propose a theory of wellativity that looks like this. F equals T plus I squared, which means fulfillment equals time plus imagination squared. To summarise the equation, to increase wellness in your life, take time and add to it lots of imagination, and then you get fulfillment. How does imagination play a role in leading us to fulfillment? Imagination is a powerful conduit for change. Applying the dazzling power of imagination is akin to looking through a kaleidoscope. When we look through a kaleidoscope and focus on a single object, the image magically expands into a dazzling infinity of patterns and colours, instantly changing our capacity to see. And when we connect to the power of imagination, sparkly solutions expand in infinite directions, allowing us to see more. As author and creativity coach Jill Bandonsky says, the imagination is always on call to transport my spirit to that timeless place of inner peace. The most important changes in my life have without exception been primarily fueled by my imagination. Through my imagination I have attracted an endless number of kaleidoscopic miracles, including bouncing back from mental illness, emerging from suicide attempts, healing physical ailments, attracting my soulmate, designing my ideal work, changing my financial reality, becoming pregnant when doctors said it wasn't possible, losing 100 pounds and so much more, including completely changing the way I see and experience life. As my experience illustrates, imagination is a powerful inner creative act, capable of transforming reality in ways beyond our wildest dreams, including creating the time that we need. We can use imagination to control our intention, attention, and awareness. By doing so, we can see the ways in which any given period can be shortened or expanded, deepened or cheapened. Through our imagination, we have an infinite capacity to control our perception of time. Knowing that all time is not equal opens the doorway for us to tap into imagination and make new choices about how we experience time. Wow. What do you think of that? That theory of wellativity. Well, my goodness, I'll tell you, I relate to it almost to every single word, except one bit, the pregnant bit. I'm not being pregnant. Well, that's not possible for someone like me. But what do you think of this theory of wellativity? Is imagination a powerful conduit to change? Well, it certainly has been in my life. Before any change was possible, before any new beginnings were given birth to, I first had to imagine it was possible. Even if others believed it would not be, I had to believe it was possible. Even if others told me it wasn't possible. The Wright brothers had to imagine that they could fly, did they not? That was the miracle, really, because they were told it was not possible, and yet two motorbike mechanics imagined the possibility and they flew. One of the things I imagined that was not possible was, before I did it, was to become a minister. Another was overcoming physical problems I've had all my life. Another was being set free from addiction, alcoholism. Another was finding and developing a relationship with God. I really didn't think that was possible. Another was falling in love and getting married. And so many more. I know I'm not alone in imagining the impossible dream and then making it real. It's my imagination that's allowed me to move into unknown territory in my life, to experience the undreamed of realities of existence, to experience what I have come to call thick time. We can't really lengthen the time we've been given, the chronos time, well, at least not beyond a few extra years. I suppose instead of the 70, perhaps the norm now is more 70. But we can deepen and thicken time. There's no limit to kairos time. It does not operate in a linear sense. It has no limit except our own imaginations, and we'll never reach the limits of them. Well, not in our lifetime anyway. The key, it seems, is not the length of time we have or have left, but what we do with the time. I invite you to make the most of it, to continue journeying, joining in your daily task, to sail the sea of life in the ship of love, to expand the limits of what we think we know, to not be held back by what we think we know. My message is to let's journey on, enjoying evermore thickening time. I'm going to end with some words of blessing. You know, we need to bless more. We can all bless, and we do so by giving our whole hearts to life. So let's begin today. Let's give our whole hearts to life. I offer these final words. May the Eternal bless you and protect you. May the Eternal smile on you and favour you. May the Eternal befriend you and prosper you. And may we carry the song of the Eternal with us in all that we feel, in all that we think, in all that we say, in all that we do. Amen.